Greetings and salutations. You're listening to Morning by the Coast, a weekly podcast brought to you every Monday morning, courtesy of exclusively YouTube. If you'd like to stay updated on the podcast, you can feel free to head over to my website, which is morningbythecoastblog.wordpress.com. Once again, that's morningbythecoastblog.wordpress.com. You can also feel free to email me any questions, comments, or any other general feedback whatsoever. My email is mbtcpodcast.info@gmail.com. Once again, that's mbtcpodcast.info@gmail.com. Anyways, with that being said, let's get on with the show. So, before we get into things, I would like to mention first that this might be a shorter episode. I don't know. Who knows? It is very late. It is 12/17, February the 4th. It is now Sunday, or Super Bowl Sunday. Pretty excited. You know, we have the Patriots and the Eagles. I've never really been a big sports fan myself, but as somebody who is from Boston, I gotta root for the Patriots. You just gotta. And even though I don't find myself that big of a football fan, I do appreciate kind of the culture and the, I guess, I don't want to say stigma because that's more of a negative word, but just the culture behind it and really just the fans and kind of just what it has become in regards to American culture. You know, you go anywhere and you're going to see something football related, whether it's a jersey, baseball hat, which is ironic since it's a football hat, but it's just the style. But no matter where you go, you're going to see something football related. I dare you, next time you go out, just count how many jerseys or t-shirts or merchandise you see. But it is quite insane seeing the amount of growth that has occurred since football has been created. And it's interesting to think about maybe something like competitive gaming, something that's, you know, I wouldn't consider it very small now, but it's something that started off small and kind of the potential it has to grow in the future. And, you know, we see in Korea and a lot of other Western countries, or Eastern countries, a lot of people are kind of holding up esports as being this huge industry. And this is in places where sports typically is not very interesting to people who live there. But we'll talk a little bit more about football later on in the show. So, since last episode, I said last week, but due to technical difficulties and other reasons, I was unable to record an episode. But I've been very busy recently, mainly due to the fact that I've been hitting the gym, you know, pumping some iron, lifting some weights, running on the treadmill, doing all that. But I've been going for, I would say, 2 weeks now. Yeah, we're going on 2 or 3 weeks now at this point, and it's been awesome. And I'll say, in all the other past years or other times where I've gone to the gym, it's always lasted maybe a couple weeks or a couple weeks max, and I kind of just got sick of it. And I was like, you know what, this isn't fun, this isn't enjoyable. But it was something I did by myself. And my school has a gym. It's not the best gym, but I mean, heck, it's something. But, you know, mainly freshman year is when I was going to the gym consistently for maybe a month or so. But I wasn't going every day. I was going maybe 2 to 3 times a week. But this time, I've been going every day. I think I've missed only 2 days. And it's just fun. Every time that I'm there, it's just awesome working out. And then whenever I'm not there, I'm thinking about being there. You know, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm some, like, you know, workout freak or some, like, jacked guy, because I'm not. Or some, like, gym freak. I just enjoy going, and it's fun spending time. And I go with a group of friends. It's me and 3 other people who go together every day after school, and it's just awesome going there. And then afterward, maybe we go out and we get some food or some snacks or whatever to just fuel ourselves up, or just go back to my friend's house and, you know, and just hang out. But, you know, I've been going there for a couple weeks now. I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. And it's just fun because, you know, I feel like a lot of people, I would argue most people, don't get any physical activity. I feel like a good majority of people just walk or run maybe, but they don't go to the gym. Even simple stuff like cardio or just running on the treadmill, I feel like is very beneficial to everybody. And I've noticed an improvement both mentally and physically. Like, I feel like I hold myself a bit taller, not literally, but kind of metaphorically. Like, I'm more comfortable with myself because I'm actually doing physical activity and I'm actually doing stuff that is benefiting my body and my mind. And it's just it's good being able to set goals for yourself when you're at the gym, or setting goals like, oh, maybe today I want to lift, I don't know, I want to bench press 140 pounds. And even if you don't hit that goal, maybe you get 120 or whatever. I'm just throwing random numbers out there. But say you get 120 and you're not able to do the 140, but you can work towards it. So every week you go or every day you go, you can, maybe do 125, then do 130, then 135, and just work your way up. And, the thing with the gym is you can't expect, there are two things that you can't expect: immediate results and every day being a good day. Because first things first, if it was just as easy as going to the gym a couple times and all of a sudden, boom, you got a six-pack, then everybody would be walking around with a six-pack. It's not that easy. You have to commit to it for months or weeks. Well, weeks, months. You really don't start seeing results until the first month or so. And this is just me speaking based off what I've heard from my other friends who've been going for a month or two. And the second thing is you're going to have bad days. It's just natural. You're not going to show up every single day and just put up the bench or, do squats and just do it fluidly and successfully every single day. You're going to have your bad days, but you have to learn to take those bad days and kind of learn from them. Like, I'll use an example. We were doing upper body, just general upper body. We did forearms, biceps, triceps, chest, and upper back, or just back. And, I we're benching. I took the bar off, and obviously there was weight on there. I don't remember the specific amount, but it's usually, it might have been a little bit more than I usually had done up until that point. But I couldn't push it back up. Like, I could get it down, but I could not push it back up. And I was like, you know what, whatever, I'm gonna go try and do something else. So we did other stuff. We did stuff with kettlebells, machines, just stuff like that. And I was just very disappointed in myself that day. I was very quiet. I was kind of angry in a sense. And I don't know why. I feel like I should have been in a better mood at the time. But when I got home and I showered and I looked back, I thought to myself, you know what? I learned from this day. So I'm going to consider this a positive experience. Because, once you hit that level where you perform poorly, the only other way you can go is up. So I had that one bad day, and then the next day we had legs, and I killed it. I was able to squat for the first time using the squat rack, because the first time we did legs, or the first time that I did legs, I was not able to, I guess, get proper form. Like, I was just all over the place. My knees and my feet were all messed up, and my back wasn't straight. And I was just messing up. And we go back again for legs, and I just, boom, nail it. And I was very happy with myself. I was freaking passed out because I was so exhausted. But it was fun times, and I look forward to going every single day. And even as filming this, in a couple hours, because right now it's 12:30, but at 8 a.m. tomorrow, I'll be waking up, going to the gym with my friends, and just having a fun time. And I'm really looking forward to it, because not only am I, spending time, or not only am I working out and helping my body be more healthy, but I get to spend it with awesome people that I genuinely care about and love being around. But enough about working out. Let's talk a little bit about shortwave radio and just radio and podcasting as a whole. So, shortwave radio is something that I've really only recently have had interest in, or not so much interest, but actually have been quote-unquote following. One of the podcasts that I listen to, VROW, Voice of the Report of the Week, he has a weekly international broadcast that he does on shortwave, and I'm not always able, I don't have an actual physical shortwave radio, but I'll listen to it on websites or whatever, just stuff like that. And sometimes I'll hop on a website, a hosting website where they have shortwave programs that they broadcast via internet. And it's just really interesting being able to kind of metaphorically scroll through the channels and just finding different content. And it's so unlike anything else. It's very, I would argue it is the most uncensored media that is accessible. Of course, internet, I would argue, is probably the most constricting. But shortwave, you can talk about anything at all. And it's such a useful tool that is very underappreciated in times of emergencies, whether it's a natural disaster, literally anything you can imagine. Shortwave is always there. You'll always have people who are broadcasting to, whether it's a war-torn country or somewhere where there's been a massive hurricane, and maybe they're trying to broadcast info to help these people get to safety again, whether it's for war times or natural disasters. It's something that is very underappreciated, and a lot of people kind of really don't even know what shortwave is. I did a public speaking presentation about shortwave radio, and I asked a question. I said, all right, I want everybody, or raise your hand if you've ever heard of shortwave radio. And 2 people raised their hand out of a classroom of maybe 20, 25 people, which is a fairly big class, but only 2 of those people raised their hand. And I found that to be really shocking. But at the end of it, I asked another question. I said, okay, raise your hand again if you find that shortwave is important, or if you think it is a really useful tool that can be utilized in a sense that'll benefit, I guess, humanity as a whole. And most people raise their hand. I felt like I did a good job at really highlighting the importance of shortwave, kind of, the difficulties that shortwave has been facing recently. Within the past couple years, a couple big stations have announced that they're not doing their broadcasts anymore, or said that they're getting shut down. Just budgeting and shortwave are 2 words that you don't hear in the same sentence. Shortwave gets the, guess you could say, short end of the stick. See what I did there? Alright, I'll stop. But shortwave radio is an amazing tool, and I intend on buying a radio for myself. And it's always been something that I've thought about. I don't know if I'm actually going to pursue it, but maybe do a shortwave podcast of my own. Who knows? And I still have to fulfill my promise of uploading on a second source, because I know YouTube is very, what's the word? It's not exactly useful if you're listening on data, because YouTube likes to use a lot of your data. But, whether it's something like Spotify or Podbean or Beam, I think it's Podbeam, yeah. But just another source, maybe even iTunes. I don't know what iTunes deal is with uploading podcasts, if there's a fee or what it is. But again, I want to make it clear I'm still looking into that, and that's still something that I will figure out within the next 2 to 3 weeks. But enough about shortwave. Let's talk about football. So as previously mentioned, I've never been a fan of the football. The pastime of passing ye old pigskin. Just hasn't been something that's interested me. I've never really been a sports fan in general. I mean, I would say recently I had a lot of interest in hockey and basketball, which are probably the 2 sports I watch the most, and quite regularly too. If I don't watch hockey, I'm listening to it on the radio or on my phone. I'm a big Blues fan, St. Louis Blues. For no particular reason, I just one day decided to turn on the TV, and I saw the Blues were playing against the Bruins, and I thought, you know what? These Blues guys are pretty good. And since then, I've just enjoyed the Blues. And, of course, basketball, gotta support the Celtics. I don't live in Boston, but as a Bostonian. Yeah, I feel like with New England, the pride when it comes to sports is unlike any other sports team. Again, I don't know anything about sports at all, so I'm kind of just spewing complete garbage, but I feel like when you talk to a New England sports fan and you say like, oh yeah, I'm an Eagles fan, they go, what'd you say? The only good team is the Patriots. Tom Brady is the GOAT. He's won the past 3 of 10 Super Bowls. And I'm just rambling. I could have gotten that completely wrong. I don't think he's won 3 of the past 10. Actually might be more. Might be more. I would say it's more than that. You can look that up on your own. But, and then football, not too big of a fan on. Baseball, not really. Although I wouldn't say I was a big baseball fan, but I watched a good amount of baseball growing up. I witnessed the Red Sox win the World Series for the first time in how many years? Let me think. I believe 86 years, something like that, because they won in 1918 and then they won again in 2004. So I think that's 96. That's 86 years. I did the math right. I thought that was right, but I had to think about it for a second. I didn't want to embarrass myself. And then basketball. I already said basketball. Football, never really been a big fan on. I remember a couple seasons ago, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, I was into football, kind of. Only the Patriots. And as somebody who's horrible with names, it's embarrassing. You know, whenever I'm like, oh, I'm a this fan, I'm a that. This is why I don't like talking about sports for this exact reason. But whenever I'm like, oh yeah, I'm a fan of this team, they're like, oh yeah, we'll name 6 of their players that aren't on the starting line. It's like, okay, can I just enjoy the sport or this team without you kind of gatekeeping them? It's kind of annoying, but you know, sports fans are very passionate about their team or their organization. Same thing with anything though. But so yeah, we have the Super Bowl tomorrow. We got the Patriots who made the comeback. That was crazy. I will say I did watch the AFC Championship. That was an insane game. From beginning to end, that was just a great game. And it really showed the power of the Patriots. You know, we had the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the New England Patriots. The game was neck and neck for most of the game. I think the first quarter was slow. I think New England. Here, let me get it up on my screen real quick. So I have the scores up on my screen and kind of some highlights in a sense. So the first quarter, the New England Patriots scored 3 points while Jacksonville scored 0. Second quarter, Jacksonville 14 points, the Patriots 7 points. Then the third quarter, the Jacksonville Jaguars scored 3 points and the Patriots 0. And then finally in the fourth quarter, the Jaguars 3 points, Patriots 14 with the end score of 24-20. Patriots win. And holy cow, the last quarter was insane. I mean, when the Patriots made the first touchdown of the fourth quarter, at that point I was like, wow, okay, this is crazy. I mean, and I'm not too big of a sports person at all, but I knew, so for some reason, I just knew that the Patriots were going to make a comeback. I just knew it. You know, that's what the Patriots are known for, is just making those comebacks. Even, was it, I think it was last year, where the Patriots had that insane comeback. They're down 3-28, and they somehow managed to make a comeback. That is crazy. I don't know how someone pulls something off like that, but you know, props to Tom Brady and the Patriots. Bill Belichick. Who's the other guy? Gronkowski. Those are the only 3 people I can name that are associated with the Patriots. I know Bill Belichick is the coach. Tom Brady is the starting quarterback, and then Rob Gronkowski might be the, I don't know, the linebacker? That's I think the only other position I know. Oh, there's wide receiver. What else is there? Lineman. I remember when we played flag football in middle school, I was a linebacker. I actually have a funny story about kind of 2-3 funny stories about flag football. So, the first day I decided to play flag football, this was in 8th grade. So this was about 5 years ago. And I didn't want to do it, but I was like, you know what? I might as well. There's no other activities I want to do, so I'll just do flag football. And I had my friend, Anthony, who kind of helped me figure out how to play. And I believe for the first game I was a wide receiver or something like that. I was able to catch the ball. I had opportunities to catch it. And he told me, he said, all right, we're going to call the ball. They're going to blitz it. And I'm going to pass it to you. And I want you to run. Keep in mind, he didn't tell me where to run. And I don't know jack squat about football at this point. Even though I had watched it in the past, just for some reason whatsoever, all my knowledge of basketball, well, I don't know what basketball has to do with this, all my knowledge about football, just out the window. And he blows the whistle, he gets the ball, and I run in the wrong direction. Or no, I run in the right direction. Never mind, I'm getting this wrong. I'm running, and I'm looking up, and all of a sudden I see the ball land in my hands. And this is where I run in the wrong direction. I was already going in the right direction to the actual end zone where we needed to score. But when I caught the ball, I ran the other way towards our end zone. And I mean, I don't remember much of what happened, but all I remember vividly is I caught the ball and I landed on the ground immediately. I don't know if I landed wrong or if I hit my head, but all I remember is just looking up, seeing the ball, catching it, and I just opened my eyes and I was on my back, and there were people above me. I mean, since then, I learned that I ran in the wrong direction, but I don't even remember that. Apparently I ran like 10 feet before I just tripped over myself and fell on the field, but I don't remember this whatsoever. Two other stories I'd like to share. Which one should I share first? Let's do the Turkey Bowl. So, in middle school, every Thanksgiving we would have like a tournament kind of. Between all the gym classes, we had a kind of a bracket in the locker room, and we had our regular season, playoffs, and then the Turkey Bowl. And it was fun. It was really enjoyable. It was maybe 6 teams, cause it was the 7th and the 8th grade, and there's maybe 6 or 8 teams, and we would all play. And whoever was in the top 4 position, or the teams in the top 4 positions would all face off. So you would have your semifinals, finals, and then Turkey Bowl. I think that's right. Because I think we had, was there a loser bracket or was it single elimination? So if there's 4 teams. Okay, no, it was just finals and then Turkey Bowl. Because we played a lot of games. It wasn't just like, a small amount of games. We played a lot, like every day. We had the flag football. And so my team ended up making it to the Turkey Bowl. I don't know how. I take 0 credit though whatsoever. I don't know how we made it there with me on the. Although I will admit, I'm kind of giving myself a lot of slack, but I would argue I was a pretty good lineman. I did a good job, but the rest of my team was. I give them full credit for just doing great things, I guess. So we make it there, and we played in the actual stadium that is near the middle school that my high school plays at. Because the middle school in my town was the old high school, and that's where they built the football field. So we use that one for our home games. So we go there. I think we show up a little bit early actually, because we had like because it was like a big thing. It was like, oh, the Turkey Bowl, woo. Which, by the way, there's no statue or any like anything you get. It was just bragging rights, really, is what it boiled down to. But we get there early. It's cold. Keep in mind, it is mid-November in New England, so it is very cold. I think I had like a sweatshirt on, but we play, and I made an awesome play. I think the quarterback ran the ball, and he made it pretty far, and I somehow managed to pull his flag. I actually made a couple of good plays this game. I don't know what happened this game, but somehow something inside me unleashed, and I just was pulling flags left and right. And as I said, I'm not a good football player, but for some reason, today was a different day. In the end, we lost by 2 points. Actually, did we lose? I think we lost, yeah. Because I'm sure if we won, I would have remembered. But that is my second story. Let me talk about the last story that I have. So, it's probably April, late April, early May, and we get changed for gym. We do our 2 laps inside, and we all split off. Some people, and we have archery as an option, running the track, or flag football. And on this day, it was pretty crappy weather. It had been raining earlier that day. It was very cloudy, very foggy. But there were no signs that it would rain again. And keep in mind, I had gym. Gym was the last class that I had. So I would go to gym, and then that would be my last class for the day in 8th grade. And so we get outside, and it's cloudy. It's kind of misting a little bit. And keep in mind, in New England, it gets dark at like 4 in the evening in the wintertime. But at this point, it was pretty much light completely. I don't know where I was going with that. So we get outside, but it does look dark though. That's where I was going with that. Even though it was probably 1 o'clock, 1:30ish, and it was pretty dark. We get up there. We play the first 2 quarters. Obviously, it's not the full however many minutes it is for a normal football game. But, we're playing whatever. It's halftime. We get back on the field. And out of nowhere, it starts pouring like bad. Not like torrential downpour, but it is pouring like crazy. And we're all having a blast. All the kids are just like, this is awesome. And the gym teachers were not having it too much. But we played for maybe 2 minutes more before we went inside. But those 2 minutes were the most insane 2 minutes of my flag football career. Just being something about playing in the rain and there's mud everywhere. It's fun. I don't know why. I don't know what it is. There's just you feel badass when you're out there in the rain. And maybe obviously your footing is not there because it's muddy and it's raining and slippery. But it was just fun. It was funny too, seeing people slip and fall because it just started pouring out of nowhere, and the grass that we were playing on was very slippery. I mean, the fields that we played on, we didn't play in the actual stadium, but we played in like, near the track, and it was a good time. Got a lot of good laughs. There's no like crazy ending to the story, besides it just rained and everybody was slipping and it was crazy. But let's talk about something a little bit different. This has been a very sports related episode, so let's talk about something not sports related. Well, I guess we did talk about shortwave radio, which is a bit of a mix up, but that'll conclude this week's episode. If you enjoyed it, feel free to email me any feedback, questions, or really anything at all. My email is mbtcpodcast.info@gmail.com. Once again, that's mbtcpodcast.info@gmail.com. You can feel free to head over to my website to stay updated on all the news in regards to Morning by the Coast, and the link to that is morningbythecoastblog.wordpress.com. Once again, that's morningbythecoastblog.wordpress.com. Anyways, with that being said, you're listening to Morning by the Coast, and I'll see you again soon.